now, that'd be great. I'd like to call the May 7th, 2019 meeting of the Buncombe County Commission to order. Thank you all for being with us this evening. Let's begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please rise and join us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin our meeting this evening, let's take a moment to acknowledge the death of Riley Howell, a native of Western North Carolina and graduate of T.C. Roberson High School, who died last week in a shooting at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. Let us also remember Ellis Reed Parlier, a 19-year-old student from Midland, North Carolina, who was also killed in the shooting. We know that Riley Howell gave his life and saved lives through his courageous action. Please join us in a moment of silence for Riley and Ellis. Thank you. And thank you all for being with us this evening. If you have a cell phone with you, please put it on mute or turn it off. I'd also like to announce that anyone who's attending this county commission meeting who parked in the county parking deck next door can get your parking validated by one of the officers who is here with us this evening, so see them on the way out. Or if you rode Asheville Transit to get here, you can also get your transit pass validated to attending the meeting. Let me read the ethics reminder to the board. In accordance with the Code of Ethics adopted by the board, all county commissioners have a duty to obey all applicable laws regarding official actions, to uphold the integrity and independence of the office, to avoid impropriety in the exercise of official duties, to faithfully perform the duties of the office, and to conduct the affairs of the governing board in an open and public manner. Is there any item on the agenda, the outcome of which would have a direct, substantial, and readily identifiable financial impact for any board member? Also, does any board member have a financial interest in any public contract coming before the board today? There being none, all board members have a duty and obligation to vote on any matters voted on by the board at the meeting this evening. All right, we come to the consent agenda. Could we have a motion to add under good news, recognition of Buncombe County
Communication.
the NC3 awards?
So moved.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that has been added to the agenda. We have to do that by consensus if it hasn't been on the published agenda. All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda and the remainder of the agenda as published and with the one additional item we just added?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Great. All right, we will do good news first, and Cataldo Perone is going to help us out talking to us about this good news. And we have folks here that we want to acknowledge and thank, and I'd like to ask all the commissioners to come down with me to help thank these folks.
Great. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, and Management. My name is Untitled Chapter. I'm the Communication Director for Buncombe County Government. And last month, Communications attended the North Carolina City and County Communicators Excellence in Communication Awards and Conference in Durham. Hello? A little bit better.
You may have to eat it, they kinda got it.
Great. Well, at the conference, we learned communication best practices and strategy, and we submit our work against other communication teams across the state. This year, NC3C received 248 entries from 28 jurisdictions. This was the organization's largest pool of award entries to date. So I'm proud to announce that Buncombe County won won 4 first place awards. So I'd like to take this time to share these projects and showcase the teams behind the development. First up is the Employee Focus. And Employee Focus won first place in the category of intranet under communication technology. Employee Focus was developed by Communications and IT, and this is where employees get their news internally. But it's much more than just news. It's a completely new communication direction. Our communication team took on this direction to create content specific to the needs of our staff. We've reported on administration and policy changes, highlight departments, showcase featured employees, and celebrate big wins. Where we once had 6 lines of text, as you see up here, we now have a dynamic page with news and stories. This project would not be possible without the help of our IT department and the web developers, Anthony Perone and Britton Klein. Unfortunately, they're not here tonight. But they took this concept and made it a dynamic working web page. And one of the judges' comments said, "This redesign is very well done. The intranet ensures that employees are presented with news-friendly, focused landing page that is dynamic, user-friendly, easy to navigate, and attention-catching." So I'd like to bring up the communication team. Cassie, Dan, Max. They're the ones that they manage all this and all this content out.
Hey, you're showing enough fire, you're gonna have to squat down in front.
Check, check, check. That's better, a little bit better. Okay, great.
Oh, we got more?
Next up is the Justice Resource Center branding. It won first place in the category of marketing tools, branding, and new logo. This branding project was very challenging. The center had several goals, but no identity, no brand, no logo, nothing that represented the great work that they do. Another challenge faced this project was that the people involved in the justice system naturally had an apprehensive nature when offered assistance from the system. So the logo had to dispel that negative association and be trustworthy. This was achieved by using bright, warm colors and the open door design that was both welcoming and symbolic. The open door design symbolized a way out or a new beginning, and it represented a pathway to life-changing services, and all you had to do was walk through it. One judge's comment said, "I like how the logo speaks to the open door. You mean to show your constituents." That's a powerful, important message, and you've conveyed it effectively. But lastly, branding is not just a logo. Every great brand is first of all about the people who represent it. The logo had to be accepted and implemented by the staff, and this team did just that. They took this logo, they believe in their work, and they made it a brand, and it shows. So another judge's comment said, the open door branding is perfect for clients and the community. The team who put this together has a lot of heart. So we have some JRC team members here tonight. Can you guys please stand up? Thank you. And they do some really amazing work. Last but not least, we have the Student Summit. I'm proud to announce that this project won 2 first place awards. First place in the category of community visioning and first place in citizen participation. The Student Summit has received funding from Buncombe County Government and Buncombe HHS, and their directive directly aligns with the board's strategic priorities of fighting the opioid crisis. We know if we're going to put a dent in this crisis, we have to educate and empower our youth, and the summit does just that. The 2018 Student Summit on Opioid Awareness was led by Buncombe HHS and the Partnership for Substance-Free Youth in Buncombe County. The summit brought together a diverse group of students from county and city schools to learn about the dangers of prescription drug abuse and addiction. Our team had the privilege to work with this group and the student media managers to create social media accounts with hashtags, logos and brandings, Snapchat filters, t-shirts, step and repeat backdrops, and challenge cards to spur engagement and participation, which gave the event more reach during the summit. And here's what the judges had to say about this project. Wow. This project really grabbed the bull by the horns in an effort to address a really big issue. The Student Summit should serve as an inspiration to all of us on how to be forward thinkers, advocate for our youth, embrace technology, and promote education, awareness, and assistance. Can the Student Summit folks please come on up? And I want to give a special thanks to the summit organizers, the Partner for Substance-Free Youth, the RHA Prevention Resource Center, the schools, Buncombe HHS, and partner agencies. These organizations and students involved are truly the ones laying the foundation for a more hopeful future. Congratulations. Well, actually, they won 2 awards. This was supposed to be up there, too. And last but not least, I'd like to pass the mic to Zoe and the student participants so they can share their 2019 Student Summit experience.
Thank you. As much of the work that's leading up to the Student Summit happens during the school day, we wanted to share with you all the value and the learning outcomes that we've been able to see within the last 2 years. At the 2018 Student Summit, we conducted a pre- and post-conference polling from the students, and they were able to use their digital devices to provide us their input. And this was intentional in that we knew from the pre-conference student focus groups that being able to engage with new media and in social media platforms was a key way that they communicate and they learn, and that they also like to receive information. So there were 3 questions that we asked in 2018. And they were all around their understanding of addiction, as well as safety and medications, and then also around how to be more resilient in terms of addressing your pain. So what we were able to see is that in all of this time, what's happened with us working with students is they are actually becoming key health influencers, and they're actually starting to build a movement. And that what we are best at is giving them all of the capacity and tools to really continue to be leaders amongst their peers, but more so influencers for all of our community. So I just want to share with you 3 really important changes that we were able to see by comparing the post-conference understanding around opioids and addiction with where we started the conference this year. And so by seeing where we actually started before all of the work sessions, you'll see that the students, through all of their engagement, through all of their conversations after the conference, were really involved in informing each other and really building what we see as a really resilient and youth-led influencer atmosphere in our schools and in our community. So in understanding whether or not it's safe to share your drugs, your prescriptions with someone else, only 30% of our students last year were able to understand that no, it is not safe. But this year, coming into the conference, 98% understood that one's medications are for themselves and they are not to be shared. And in terms of understanding the difference of opioids versus alcohol, yes, alcohol is a big deal. But the other story of that they didn't understand is that, and an opportunity and why we're doing this work is that we actually see more deaths from prescriptions and overdoses than we see in car accidents. Last year, 48% understood this. This year, 91%. And then finally, in terms of understanding exactly, is there kind of a lightning bolt addiction that happens around opioids? No, it's something that happens gradually. Last year, 48% of our students understood this, but this year, an overwhelming 83% understood that the initiation into an opioid addiction is something that trickles and then bam, happens just before you know it, and it creeps up on you. So we're really happy to see that this continued partnership with MAHEC, with RHA, with our public schools, and really the entire community, it's working to serve, to really empower, and to add additional capacity for our students to be really informed and educated influencers in health. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I will give the floor to Seth and Montana, who will share with you the student perspectives on the Student Summit.
Great.
Hi, I'm Seth Bellamy. I'm a sophomore at SILSA, School of Inquiry and Life Sciences at Asheville, and I'm one of the co-facilitators and founding members of ABFM, which is Asheville Buncombe Futures Movement.
Hello, my name is Montana Montill. I'm a student at Buncombe County Early College, and I served as a co-facilitator at the 2019 Student Summit, and I'm also a founding member at ABFM, Asheville Buncombe Future Movement Coalition.
Yeah. As a result of last year's summit in 2018, the Asheville Buncombe Futures Movement, ABFM, Youth Coalition was created and were instrumental in the planning and implementation of the 2019 summit.
Another youth leadership council that originated from the 2018 summit is the A.C. Reynolds Opioid Youth Leadership Council. This spring, they hosted informational and inspirational assemblies for every grade level to increase their knowledge and decrease stigma around substance use disorders.
This year, the students were involved at a higher level than the year before in creating and co-facilitating workshops this year versus simply planning and attending the 2018 summit.
The summit followed the same format as last year, using the head, heart, hands model to guide the content of the summit and provide workshops that build knowledge, skills, and inspiration to prevent and reduce youth substance abuse in Buncombe County by creating peer-to-peer messaging and opportunities at school level.
Over 80% of respondents reported increased skill around creating peer messages about substance abuse prevention. After reflecting on the event, I believe that it was a worthwhile event because of the duality that we had, especially as co-facilitators, because we were able to teach and also have receptive learning. So that's an important duality to have, especially with a topic such as opioids, because it impacts each and every one of us, either a family member or personally. And so that is why it was important for us to understand how far-reaching this is across the nation and within our own community.
Another reason the summit was worthwhile was because we were able to make connections to our peers and in our community over a topic that needs to be talked about but isn't often.
Thank you for the opportunity to be involved and to give you all an update on this important work. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Thank you very much.
All right, Cataldo, and to everyone who participated, congratulations. It's great work in a lot of different areas. And to the students, thank you so much for what you're doing. This is one of the most important issues the community is wrestling with, and what y'all are doing will save people's lives. So thank you so much. All right. We have one other presentation, and Commissioner Jasmine Beach Ferrara is going to present this, and this is for to recognize Motorcycle Awareness Month. And I think there's some folks here to accept the recognition and to say a few words about Motorcycle Awareness Month. So come on down.
I'll read this and then y'all can take the mic.
Thank you for being with us this evening. We're honored to proclaim this as Motorcycle Awareness Month. I'll read the proclamation and then turn it over to y'all. Whereas Asheville and Buncombe County motorcyclists have banded together to actively promote a more positive image of motorcyclists, promote fair motorcycle legislation, and to ensure motorcyclist freedom. Whereas these motorcyclists are also working to eliminate prejudicial attitudes towards motorcyclists and promote participation in public service programs. And whereas these motorcyclists organize and participate in motorcycle safety education and rider training programs and public awareness programs. And whereas the Buncombe County chapter of Concerned Bikers Association of North Carolina has requested that the month of May be proclaimed Motorcycle Awareness Month. And whereas this board feels that it is in the best interest of all citizens to promote motorcycle safety awareness and to foster a sense of brotherhood and sisterhood among all users of our county roadways. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners for the County of Buncombe as follows. That the month of May 2019 be proclaimed Motorcycle Awareness Month in Buncombe County. That all citizens of Buncombe County are hereby encouraged to join area motorcyclists in an effort to improve traffic safety and increase motorcycle awareness, and that this proclamation be effective upon its adoption, adopted the 7th day of May 2019 by the Buncombe County Board of Commissioners. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for this proclamation. It's very nice that we do this every year. But more importantly, I want to thank you for potentially saving my life and the lives of hundreds of thousands of people that ride in Buncombe County. Because that's what we're doing. If we make people aware that there's motorcycles out there, we're saving people's lives. And it's people that work every day, people that go to jobs, people that have families, and people that just enjoy riding motorcycles. It's people that are worthwhile living. You know, back in the 70s when I started riding, it was a different world. People wanted to know what kind of gang you belonged to. People wanted to know what kind of outlaw you were. There was all sorts of harassments. And it was just a different world altogether. People want to know what we're concerned about, being a concerned biker. We want to make sure that we're able to ride tomorrow. We're concerned about legislation. We're concerned about safety. This proclamation helps make the roads safer for us. If people know that there's a person behind that headlight coming at you, then it's going to be safer for us. You guys have done your part. We do our part also. We have a motorcycle safety awareness program. We go into the schools. We teach these kids that are in driver's ed that there's motorcycles out there. We don't teach them to ride motorcycles. We just show them that there's a motorcycle out there. Motorcycles are like anything else. Once you start looking for them, you see them. And if you're not aware they're there, you don't see them. I'm not sure how many kids we've covered this year.
We've done 9 classes already.
9 classes this year.
302 students.
Okay. 302?
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So I want to thank you for saving my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Great job. All right. Next up, we have a financial quarterly report, and Don Warren, our finance director, will present this item.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Okay, can you hear me now? Are we ready? Presentation? There we go. All right. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners.
Amen.
Good evening, Don.
How are you?
Oh.
I have the quarterly financial report. Okay. At this point in the year, the assumption is that revenues and expenditures will be at least 75%. However, due to the timing of revenue collections and payments, disbursements, this is not always the case. General fund budgeted revenues are $323.9 million, and actual revenues to date are $262 million, or 80.9% of budget. The primary driver for revenues exceeding expenditures is due to the collection of property taxes that were due January 1 of 2019. General fund budgeted expenditures are $323.9 million, and actual expenditures to date are $215 million, or 66.5%. One of the main drivers for this is being under budget at this time is debt service payments, as well as operating expenditures for information technology and maintenance and repairs. We provide a breakdown of the general fund expenditures by function and category. As you can see, the budgeted numbers up there. General government is at 64.4% of budget. Public safety is 68.4%. Economic and physical development is 44.5%. Human services is 68.4%. Culture and recreation is at 66.6%. Education is at 81.3%. Other financing sources and uses, that's basically transfers, is at 25.6%, and then debt service at 20.3%. The next one shows us the breakdown by category, and you can see salary and expenditures is the largest expenditure, and it is at 70.8% of budget. Operating expenditures are at 58%. Program support is at 76.8%. Capital outlays are only at 11%. Debt service, again, 20.3%. And then transfers are at 25.6%. The solid waste fund, we break this down also by category. The solid waste fund accounts for landfill and transfer station operations. It's our enterprise fund and basically operates like a business. Budgeted revenues are $9.8 million. Actual revenues to date are $6.68 million, or 67.5%. Since this fund operates like a business, revenues are fee-based and really depend upon usage. Disposal fees collected for the landfill are $3 million, about 96% of budget, but disposal fees at the transfer station are $3.17 million, are only 59% of the budget. Solid waste budgeted expenditures are $9.89 million. Actual expenditures to date are $4.46 million, or 45%. And as you can see, salaries is the largest category. It is at 64.5% of budget. Operating expenditures are 41.5. Capital outlay is at 47.1. Debt service is at 10%, and transfers are at 40%. I will turn it over to Jennifer, who will go over the projections, and hopefully not have a seizure from this screen.
Seems to be a lot of activity with the microphone this evening. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. So in our review of projections, a reminder that projections are based on our actuals through March 31st, 2019. Overall, revenues and expenditures are projected to remain within the current budget. Total projected revenues are $315,438,438. For each revenue by type, we anticipate to receive all or more than budgeted, with the exception of internal transfer revenue. Ad valorem is projected at marginally over 100%. Sales tax is projected at 103% based on current trends. Permits and fees, as well as sales and services, are projected to receive more than the current budgeted amount, related to an upward trends for permitting volume and detention center revenues related to federal inmates. Interfund transfer revenues are projected at 86% of the budget, as the budget plan for fiscal year 2019 included a planned transfer from the insurance fund, and the current projection indicates it will most likely not be needed. Therefore, we have not included it here as revenue. That's why it would be at 86%. To review in more detail the categories of other taxes and licenses and the combination category that includes miscellaneous revenue and interest, key contributors to the percents that are over 100% are related to one-time settlement dollars, recovery dollars of $750,000 for the Green settlement, $189,000 for the Creighton settlement, and $171,241 for the Stone settlement. Additionally, the one-time excise tax revenue as a result of the sale of Memorial Mission Hospital is recorded and contributes to the increased percent in other taxes and licenses. It is important to note that while the revenue is recorded in full at $1.25 million, the county revenue share is approximately $646,032. The other 49% share of that goes to the state. We pay that to the state as the state share. Health and Human Services is projected to receive additional revenue over the budget due to a shift in reimbursement being more heavily weighted to uncapped revenue streams. This fluctuates depending on a multitude of factors. However, the trend is indicating we should receive additional revenue than originally budgeted. Other revenue projections across departments had some increases and decreases since the previous projection, with a net projected increase of $293,366.
Jennifer, the interest and investment earnings increase, so is that just because interest rates have gone up?
It actually is. So this graph actually depicts that. So if you will look at the trend from July through December. Oh, that was my next slide. You can see that in our prior projections, we would have had the through December actuals to project from. And based on those improved interest rates on for earnings, you can see that we essentially more than doubled through March. So that's the reason for the increase related to that.
And that will likely, obviously it can go up and down, but if it kind of stays in the neighborhood of where it is now for the next year or two, then that'll mean, I mean, that's bad if you're buying a house, right? But if you've got funds invested, then that's good, right? So that would be a little bit of additional revenue for the county then, compared to like the last few years when interest rates have been just super low.
Potentially, and a portion of this is bank interest. And so if you think about how much money you have in your savings account, less money you have in your savings account, less interest that you're going to earn. So between the combination, as long as the interest rates continue or the investment rate earnings continue to improve or at least stay, yes, it has the potential to yield more revenue.
Okay.
So overall, so all of the key contributors that I just talked about does contribute to an improved financial outlook since the last financial report and totals $4.5 million and is largely one-time revenues. Continuing to talk about revenues, what you don't see here are any revenues for the potential sale of Ferry Road. Without the ability to confidently plan on the receipt of the revenues in fiscal year 2019, we've not included those in the fiscal year 2019 projection as of now. If the closing were to take place in fiscal year 2019, the dollars would post as a revenue and would become part of the fund balance, so part of our savings, at the conclusion of the fiscal year, as well as the other one-time revenues that I discussed previously. The total, so we'll move on to expenditures unless you have questions related to revenues. All right. The total general fund expenditures projected for fiscal year 2019 year end is $315,650,573. Spending across all functions is estimated to remain within budget and at 97.5% spent for the total fund. Debt service and education funding are expected to be fully expended. Since our last projection, we have projected to spend approximately $1.7 million less than previously projected due to an overestimate of leave sales. If you'll recall, this board made the decision to institute the 40-hour max cap for annual leave sales. At the close of December and during our work on the projection, we unfortunately didn't have submitted requests to be able to evaluate the impact for the last available cycle of leave sales. Therefore, we overestimated the actuals, good and bad. In working with departments across the organization, they have identified additional dollars that are not planned for spending and are captured here. So it is not unlikely that we see more conservatism in an earlier projection than one that is nearer to the end of the fiscal year. The confidence in which you can project increases as the number of months that you see in actual spending has taken place. As a result of the revenue and expenditure notations from previous slides, the projected use of fund balance at this current time is $212,135. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Don. All right, we do not have any public hearings this evening. And, Avril, are there any other announcements under County Manager that you'd like to share?
Just want to give you an update from Working Wheels. In our April meeting, we did donate 4 vehicles to them. When they've looked at the vehicles, there was one that they could not use. It was a 2012 Crown Vic that had very high mileage, over 232,000 miles. So since we asked that they have all of our vehicles go to the programs and not be used for sale or for scrap, they could not use one vehicle. So I just want you to know that they were able to take 3 of the 4 that we donated to them. So the full vehicle the county kept and will dispose during regular methods.
All right, thank you. One last thing, just so on the financial report, so we have a special commission meeting coming up for the audit presentation. Is that correct? Is that still on our calendar?
It is not, but we would love to talk about that. We would like to do that. I believe if the 14th work, I think Amanda, you couldn't make it on the 14th, but if the rest could make it on the 14th, we could have the auditors present the fiscal year 18 budget. If not, we will have to talk about a special date that we can do that. The auditors are not available at our next meeting.
They're not
June.
available at our next regular meeting, so we need to have a special meeting, so we don't want to wait a full month.
Right.
The 14th works for me. I'm sorry it doesn't work for you, Amanda.
Normally, I can be really flexible with my schedule that day. I can call in for an hour between meetings. Normally, I can be very flexible. This day, I can't. But I do have an hour gap. I could call in.
What time is that hour gap?
I can tell you. (2 p.m.)
I think we can make that work with the auditors.
All right, so 2
Okay.
2 p.m. And approximately how long will the meeting be?
1 hour.
Estimate?
It
1
totally
hour.
depends on how many questions you want to ask.
Okay. All right.
I mean, seriously, the presentation will be 10 minutes maybe, and then it'll be questions from you.
Okay.
But we don't anticipate more than an hour.
All right.
So it'll be from
2
to 3?
Yes,
So you'll send out an invite for that?
absolutely.
All right. So, and that'll be right
14.
here, right? We'll do
Yes,
that
sir.
here. Okay.
employee ceremonies at 11:30.
Right. There's a employee recognition event at lunch, which should be over by
2.
before then.
Yeah, it'll be over.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
you.
Very good. All right. We don't have any old business items. Under new business, we have consideration of a joint resolution of the Board of Commissioners and the Asheville City Board of Education, and Michael Frew will present this item.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, screen does blink a lot. The City Board of Education asks that this board consider a joint resolution. The city school board approved this resolution last evening. So the reason we're here for this is because they want to enter into a continuing contract for capital outlay to buy a new phone system. And because that phone system is more than $250,000 and it's a lease option to purchase extending more than 3 years, then the technical requirements of the statute require that the school board get the approval of this commission. On the theory that counties are authorized to appropriate funds by purpose, function, and project, this board does not do that, so we're just fulfilling the technical requirements of the statute. They already have this funding in their budget. It's already in the current year budget. They already have it planned for the next 3 years of the budget, so they're just asking for this board's approval for that capital outlay contract to fulfill that requirement. The signing by the county of this resolution does not bind the county to pay for this in any way, shape, or form. It's not a guarantee. The county can't be sued for it. It is strictly the city of school board's contract. So I'll be happy to try to answer any questions if you have them.
I think the resolution's pretty clear, that it shows we don't have any obligation or, it's very clear as to what the intent of it is.
Yes, sir.
If people want to read that, I think it's very clear.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Frew. All right, we do not have any board appointments for this evening. So that brings us to public comment. Let me go over the rules. The time for individual comment to the board is 3 minutes. If your time expires, you may leave any question along with your name, address, and phone number with the county manager. Board members are not expected to comment on any matters during public comment. This is your time to speak to us. And the board reserves the right to deny public address on any subject previously considered during the board meeting where the same topic has already had public comment. I see we have a lot of educators with us this evening, so welcome and thank you for being here, and our school board member as well, and who attended our work session earlier this evening on the budget. So thanks to you all for being here. Who would like to speak? Paula, come on up.
Good evening, Chairman Newman and County Commissioners. My name is Paula Dinga, and I'm a third grade teacher at Estes Elementary, a 22-year veteran of my profession, and the president of Buncombe County Association of Educators. One of the most important things that we do is build relationships with children. This is the elemental key to addressing the profound and growing needs of for our social, emotional, and academic stability of our young students. Nowhere is that role more important than the front lines in the classroom. People comprise the greatest share of the Buncombe County Schools budget, which makes perfect sense. Children need to feel trust and stability in their environment. We often say you cannot talk about blooms until you have met Maslow's, which refers to the priority of physical and emotional needs being met before we can apply the increasingly rigorous demands of learning. Children will not learn from us unless they are well nurtured, either at home or by us, and unfortunately, so many of them come to us needing more than just academics. Our instructional assistants and classified staff do just that. They are on the front line, face-to-face with children every day alongside highly qualified certified staff. They make it possible to see and hear every child, to watch for the cracks in their foundation, to build them up when they are down. They are the reason we can differentiate instruction for the smallest groups and the most individualized and focused attention while working towards bridging the achievement gap. They are not an extra, they are essential. And this is not a K-1 concern, as I speak from a third grade experience in the most heavily tested elementary grade level. Tonight you've heard the presentation from the Buncombe County Schools budget request, and it includes many line items that skew its investment toward personnel, not the least of which are the people who work directly with our children every day. Our public schools in North Carolina have lost more than 8,000 instructional assistants in the last 8 years, and the wound keeps bleeding. Having highly qualified teachers in place is a given, but can only be offset by a burnout of continuously doing more with less. Increasing personnel positions that do not directly serve children while simultaneously reducing those that work with them daily is a strange and counterproductive trade-off. Thankfully, we have always felt the Commission has understood the value of its public schools. It's a sad truth that we must look to you as a local governing body to mitigate the funding gap that is widening as the state-level per-pupil expenditure drops well below the national average. It's a Sophie's choice that I wish none of us had to consider, and how meeting the needs of our youngest generation and their future. I wish that Buncombe County Schools were requesting full funding of all existing instructional assistant positions, regardless of attrition. Our county administrators have protected these positions longer than many of our colleagues outside of Buncombe County, but without your support, it may no longer be feasible. Please fully fund the budget request from Buncombe County Schools. Anything less will no doubt mean a reduction in personnel. Until we have the full and unqualified support of our state lawmakers, we will continue to ask for your intervention. Thank you.
Thanks, Paula. Hey, I'll ask that folks not applaud or give positive or negative feedback to anybody who speaks during public comment, okay? Thank you. Amy?
It's a little darker than I thought up here. Good afternoon, Commissioners. As you know, I am Amy Churchill, member of Buncombe County School Board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you today concerning a budget request you heard earlier from Buncombe County Schools. You have been presented with what I'm sure some of you would consider a very large monetary request. I am here today to speak about the true value of a dollar. $1,295,640, a large number perhaps. I consider it an investment in our children's lives. This amount of money will have a direct impact on our students' emotional well-being. Keeping assistants in the classroom and providing 7 new behavioral support positions. These are people who will provide what some children will only get at school, emotional stability and an adult who believes in them, the foundation for good citizenship for some, and the continued building blocks for those that do have the support at home. This week, my heart has been breaking thinking about one of our amazing graduates. He is being held a hero, and story after story describes this behavior was his nature. It is apparent that Riley Howell had the emotional support to become a hero. He had the love and support of family and friends. He had many teachers, counselors, and assistants who over the years helped build upon that support in a positive way. We need more heroes among us. I've also been thinking about the shooter, another young man. I can't help but wonder what his emotional support was like, why he didn't have the opportunity to grow up differently, perhaps become a hero himself. My heart also breaks for this lost child and lost opportunities. We have to do better by our children, all children. In the next few weeks, you will have the opportunity to make a difference in children's lives here in Buncombe County, to be a part of that child's journey to good citizenship, to be a part of providing that one person who believes in a lost child, to have that child become something so amazing they will forever remember the support they were given in their schools and their community. They will take that support and build better communities for all of us. They may even become heroes. Again, we need more heroes in this world. You can make that difference, and that, my friends, is worth more than the monetary request before you today. And that is the true value of $1. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Please don't clap out loud. You can clap in your mind. Coming up. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Westbrook, and I'm a 4-hour instructional assistant at Estes Elementary School. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. I've been married for 30 years and have raised 5 children, 2 of which were diagnosed severely dyslexic. My day starts immediately by facilitating 2 30-minute reading groups. These groups consist of 5 to 6 students each. We read appropriate level text, working on fluency, comprehension, and writing. Directly from here, I work with 7 students strictly on fluency. We use several research-based interventions focused on improving fluency. After my morning groups, 3rd grade transitions into about 90 minutes of ELA, followed by 90 minutes of math. This schedule allows the 2 part-time assistants to spend 100% of our time with students during instruction. During ELA and math, we are regularly working with small groups of students who need additional support, assisting all students with questions, and catching students up who may have missed assignments or assessments due to absences. This is the only way that students can receive differentiated instruction. Everything I've previously mentioned is extremely important, and you might say check the box for instructional assistant. However, in my mind, equally important are the numerous efforts we make every single day to assist students and classroom teachers. I could not possibly mention every situation that arises over the course of a school year, but here are some. We often assist with behavior issues, from a simple silent gesture to remind students of appropriate behavior, to removing a student from the classroom to determine if a quiet conversation can steer them back on track, to a visit to the office if required. We provide first aid, including Band-Aids, bloody noses, temperature taking, holding garbage cans for that unexpected tummy issue. Let's not forget emotional first aid. Many times we need to simply listen to a student who needs to talk about issues at home or issues with peers. When assistants take care of social, physical, and emotional needs, we build trusting relationships with students. If we are not in the classroom to do these things, it all falls to the classroom teacher, which adds to their already demanding job. Finally, I am one of hundreds of instructional assistants in the county. We all bring knowledge, life experiences, and tremendous care to the classrooms of Buncombe County. I hope that when you consider the BCS budget, you will approve the requested funds to allow instructional assistants to remain in the classroom. I sincerely thank you for your time.
Thank you. Who would like to go next?
Good afternoon. I'm Renee Ledford. I've been employed as an instructional assistant for Buncombe County Schools for 15 years. first and foremost, I would like to thank the county commissioners for all that you have done for our students and our schools for over the years. I will be speaking on behalf of instructional assistants and the importance of funding for these positions. I would also like for you to know how instructional assistant jobs have changed over the past 20 years. We no longer cut and paste or make copies all day long. As assistants, we promote academic skills as well as provide the safety needs for all the students. What we do every day to meet the safety needs for students: we cover breakfast, car, and hall duty. We provide lunch duty coverage for all the levels at our school. We monitor food allergies and special diets. We monitor blood sugar levels for our diabetic students. We tend to the needs of sick students, such as temperatures, calling parents, and sending home students if they're sick. Providing clean clothes as needed. This can take up to 20 minutes of a teacher's instructional time. We provide bathroom assistance for our special needs students who require changing as needs, and this requires 2 assistants. We assist students who have behavioral or emotional challenges by removing them from the classroom and allowing them time to calm down. We cross-check transportation changes. We do afternoon car duty, second load bus duty. We classroom coverage when substitutes are not available, or when the teachers are running behind. We act as extra set of eyes throughout the building every day, keeping our children safe. We are sweepers who confirm all children have safely left the building during a fire drill. Our academic duties include 3 small reading groups, providing instructions for 4 to 5 children per group, 30 minutes each. We are certified Title I assistants, small group instructions for struggling students who require additional help in math, science, and phonics. We are reading tutors for struggling readers for 2nd grade. We proctor 3rd and 4th grade BOGs and EOGs. We are certified subs who may be pulled any time of the day to substitute when teachers leave due to sudden illness or when Buncombe County cannot provide substitutes. We monitor and maintain classrooms while teachers are involved with testing individual students. Thank you for your funding, our positions in the past. We know you value quality education and hope you will continue to fund instructional assistance by supporting us in your budget. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Renee. Who's next? Jerry Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'd like to say that the responsibility and the things that this commission is in charge of in North Carolina and Buncombe County is certainly the policy making and the things you do to set policy. It is not to be a cheerleader or a protester on the sidebar in anything you do out here in the community advocating for a cause when you need to be non-biased and not set a precedent of being out there on the sideline with a group of teachers or a group of equality people. You need to be here setting policy. That's number one. And that's where it ought to be. The thing about schools, I can agree with everything these teachers are saying. I can bring you good stories, I can bring you sad stories, I can bring you some that'll make a hair stand on your head. Now, I'm saying this for 32 years of experience of helping special kids. They are getting the blunt of every policy of the state or the county that you're making. They're getting the brunt of it. I've watched this for years. The top-end kids getting everything. You got the middle college, you got the early college, you got the STEM, you got all these programs set outside, and if you look at it, they've been growing by leaps and bounds for years. But the kids that needs the help is not getting it, and they're taking the staff, when it comes down to taking staff, they're taking the staff at the bottom instead of the top. Now, to disagree with the teachers a little bit here on one thing, the teachers are the frontline people when it comes to education. But when it comes to education in Buncombe County, we have got the biggest number of new teachers that's not got much experience, and I can tell you that from my experience, they don't even know what special education referrals are. They don't even know how to refer a kid. They don't know how to document stuff to get a kid to get help at the front office. You go to the principal and you might as well be talking to the wall because they ain't got much more sense than the teacher has, and they should be the leader. Now, if you want to hear some real stories, I can tell you some privately. But when it comes to funding, the county superintendent wants to have this 1 month thing, you know, set aside, $4.8 million. You know, they got in trouble and they wanted this supplement money to keep coming in because they got in trouble because Mary Parker, the finance director, was not filling out the paperwork and getting the personnel stuff sent into Raleigh soon enough, and
Jerry,
they
time's
got
up.
in trouble for it. Yeah, she talked a little longer.
I know.
Okay?
You
So,
have to now. So
just
time
to let you know.
time is up. Time's up. Sit
Huh?
down, please. Your time's up. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Jerry.
Pretty good sometimes.
All right. Anybody else? Don?
Want to give you a comment. The guy that got up here that was over public relations, giving out the awards, I had a conversation with him today over the phone, and it's one of the pleasant of conversations I've had with any employee in Buncombe County in 20-some years I've been dealing with government, and I will not attempt to pronounce his name. But I did talk to him, and I did find out that there is a request in to where your pre-meetings, your work sessions will be put on the page where you've got these meetings listed. And I want to see that as soon as possible, because guess what? If you can hand out $2.2 million without interest, if you can give the schools $4.8 million, don't you worry about the cost of putting the information out for the citizens to see it, okay? Now, I've sat here tonight and I've listened about schools. And yeah, the top's the problem. It's not the teachers. It's the top. It's the National Education Association, which is nothing but a union that pulls them together, and they go to Raleigh. Yeah, they got the time to take a day out, go to Raleigh, upset the whole system to protest for more money. To protest for more money. Folks, we heard it tonight when you started looking at the budget. Comes budget time, that's $70,000 for that project you had out there on Schluter Farms that passed in the consent agenda today. The $2.2 million for the affordable housing, the other hundreds of thousands of dollars you've given for conservation easement, the $4.5 for the schools. It's all good, wonderful causes, but you know something? What happens when it all comes budget time? Who's the bad guy? Or, excuse me, lady, it's going to be the person that sits up on that board and looks out for all the taxpayers in Buncombe County. He'll be the bad guy or she'll be the bad guy. Because the special interest groups will file into these chambers and line up their talkers and presenters, and they will beg and plead and make you all feel guilty. So it's going to take something to make some of you stand up for us, the citizens. And I'm looking for it. Who's going to be the one that's going to say enough is enough? We can't do that anymore. You have to manage the budget you got. Because guess what? That's what we all do in our private individual budget, unless you're stealing a little from the county for your vacations. And you know what I'm talking about there. And yeah, I'm going to stand right here till that buzzer, because, Brownie, you don't care what we say, you don't talk to us, you don't answer us.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. I just want to start by saying I absolutely want to be very clear that my stance on the budget for the schools. I think education, the teachers, the students are all very important, and I think that we need to go ahead and move forward with that. They're the lifeblood of the future, and we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can for the teachers. But I don't want to forget the people like the custodians, the people that work in the cafeteria, the bus drivers. All of those people are all part of the education system, and we need to be doing everything that we can to make sure that we're taking care of those people. I do also want to say that even with having extra money coming in and some money that we didn't count on, I think it's really important that we need to start thinking about cuts, about being able to say no to certain people out there that are having their hands out all the time. Part of having a balanced budget is going to give the money where we need it and save it where we can, and that's only going to be accomplished if we start to learn how to say no. But the one group that we do not want to say no to right now is these folks out here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Hey, John.
I'm John Coffey. I'm the Chief of Riceville Fire Department, and I just want to make an announcement, more or less. In Riceville Fire District, we've started a lot of community support programs. We believe in the sense of community. One of the things is a coffee social that's every Tuesday morning from 9 to noon. Studies show that people are secluded or not involved in a social activity leads to depression. That can lead to other ailments. So we're doing our best to promote health and wellness. And I would like to invite anybody, commissioners included, to attend these socials, meet some of these people in the communities, and just interact with us. The other thing is we started a farmers market that kicked off this month. That will be every Saturday. We're still looking for vendors, so if anybody knows of anyone who farms or mountain crafts, anything like that, please contact Riceville Fire Department. We also have community yoga. That is 4 times a week. Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening, Friday morning, and Friday afternoon. So, and we are continuing to grow our social programs. Out of that coffee social, we had partnership with the Disabled American Veteran Chapter. So there is a representative at that coffee social that helps veterans with any of their needs. Out of that social group, there's talks of a book club and a community garden club. So there's a lot of great things going on. So I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, John. Thanks for the updates. All right, anyone else? All right, thank you all who took time to come to the meeting and share your perspectives. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. We have a closed session. We have a closed session. What are we going to do?
Sorry.
Oh, it's about a personnel matter, right?
Yes, it'd be under North Carolina General Statute 143-31811A6 to consider a personnel matter.
Okay. All right. We do not expect to take any action in this meeting, so we'll come back out of closed session and adjourn. We don't expect to take any more action tonight. Is there a motion to go into closed session? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. We're in closed session.